Hi, everyone. It is Amy and Tabitha again from Authors Buzz. And today we're continuing our discussion on publishing paths, and we're going to talk about traditional publishing.
Yes. And my disclaimer is that my tiny dog is sitting in my lap and I am outside in my sister's backyard in Folsom, California, and there's geese everywhere. So she's very excited by the geese. So we might have a little doggy interruption, but I apologize in advance. She is very cute, but
Yes.
all right. So when we talked last time, we kind of gave an overview of all the different publishing options that are available to us. And the first one, the one that most people think about, is traditional. And it's right now, as an author that wants to break into the market, in order to reach these traditional publishers, you do need to have an agent, right? So it's called a gatekeeper model for that reason. You have the gatekeeper, that's the agent, and then the acquisitions editors on the end of the publishing house. They're also filtering through all of their various submissions. And I don't know what the statistics are of how many they read versus how many they accept, but anybody that's ever queried an
I
agent
don't
or
know if we want to actually tell people.
we probably don't, because it's discouraging. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't try to go down this path if this is what you want. The big five publishing houses, I'll just name them, and they'll be familiar to you if you know anything about publishing at all. It's Hatchet Books, Penguin Random House, HarperCollins, Macmillan, and Simon and Schuster. And each one of those has many various imprints underneath them that are like sort of like the romance part of it, or the speculative fiction side of the house, or the whatever, or the literary fiction side of the house. So each department has their own set of acquisitions editors and multiple units of them. So that's essentially, that's the model is you get an agent, your agent decides they obviously likes your work enough to try to submit it. They put it on submission, and they're trying to also be strategic in who they're picking as acquisitions editors to try to get the right material to the right person. And then hopefully you hear back positively. I am on submission with one of my books right now, and I can tell you it's as nerve-wracking as it was when you're trying to query agents. So it doesn't, and that's the gatekeeper aspect of it. On the other hand, the good side of that, it does filter out some of the work that's maybe not ready, or it just is the market is oversaturated. And the thing to think about with this is that there's the art of writing and the creativity, and the part that we are so excited to get our stories out and on the page, and then there's the business side of it. And the publishing houses are interested in the business. Can they sell your book? Can they sell lots of copies of your book? What else do they have in their pipeline? Is this one too much like what's already coming out? Is it something new and so there's a lot of metrics that go into play. And what I'll say about traditional publishing is a lot of the decision making is out of your hands. So that's thing one.
True. And I just to back up for 1 second, it really is true that you could have an excellent idea, well written,
Right.
and it, you could find it challenging to find the right agent. And we'll talk about agents more, but it doesn't mean that agents not out there.
Right.
So sometimes it is a numbers game where you just have to spread it out enough so it
Yes.
ends up with the right agent who has the right relationship with the right acquisition editor at the right publishing
At
house
the right time.
at the right time to
Yep.
connect. So I just want to put that out there because I'm querying now and I'm sending out a lot of queries, and I know I have a strong work and I know I have a strong query and materials and all that, and it's almost like what do they call it, like threading the needle. Like I just
Yeah.
picture it as like all these like gears, right? And you've
Yep.
got to get it. You could shoot it through all at the same time. Now you might get lucky, that might be a straight shot, but I just really want to emphasize, if you decide to go this route, then everything we're talking about, just do it until you have no more people to query or whatever it is. We're going to get
Right.
to query. Okay.
Right.
So back to, I think what we were going to, where we're going, we talked about that. Why would you choose traditional?
Well,
And next
yeah.
one.
Yeah, and why not, right? So why would you? I mean, I think that if the idea of the entire publishing process is overwhelming to you, if you're really, really just the idea that not only do you have to, write this book and get it edited, but then you also have to put together a production team and a cover artist, and then you have to market it and you have to figure out if that just doesn't feel like exciting to you at all in any, in any capacity. If what you really want to do is write your books and see them published the traditional way in bookstores and, in the airport and the whatever, then this is, your path. What you need to make sure of ahead of time is that your manuscript really is in the best shape possible. And we'll talk about that more next week when we talk about querying agents and like you need an agent. How do you do this? But really, you do need to be sure that you're not a baby writer with a brand new baby manuscript, that you're going to waste that opportunity of pitching and it's not to say you can't come back with another manuscript, that's different and that when you've learned something, but you do want to be sure that your material is ready to do this. And you need to have a thick skin. I mean, that's really true. You have to have a thick skin.
Say that one more time.
You have to have a thick skin. It's a game of rejection. And as some friends of mine a long time ago, when we were querying our first time around, I think we said we were joking that we would make t-shirts up with our worst, reviews and rejections just for fun, because, we've all gotten them. But the traditional route is then that means that, all the money is also coming to you. Not that you're necessarily going to get rich off your first book or anything like that, but you're not also going to be laying out anything. Basically they're taking care of everything like we talked about last time, for everything from your cover art to putting your editorial team together to getting production to audio market, any of that stuff that's being handled for you or in collaboration with you, but it's not your responsibility to get that done. So that's a nice feature, and the money coming towards you. And again, I'll say this again next week when we talk about agents, but your agent only gets paid if they sell your work and you get paid. So everything it's coming this way. It's not a business where you're outlaying cash to get a product produced and, that sort of thing. It's coming towards you. So that's one of the reasons, you want to see there's better distribution often, unless you've cracked the nut of how to get your work out there and where your audience is. And sometimes that's not a first book thing that happens. It takes time for you to learn where your audience is, learn how to market for yourself. So unless you're, pretty sure you know how to do that and get on that path, they're going to be helping you figure out who is your target audience and where are they and how do we sell to them. So.
And I would just jump in and say as well, everybody on your team has skin in the game.
Right. Everyone has skin in the game.
Not just to make money, but also if your book needs edit, if your book needs some changes to make it the best it can be, to sell the best it can, everybody is super interested in making that happen.
Yes. So that's, that's the traditional model. And I think that last time we had mentioned that, there's the big five and all their imprints, but there are also in today's market, there are also some smaller presses that are actually quite nice and reputable. They may not have the distribution arm of some of these big presses or the ability to put a lot of money behind you to market. So you're going to have to take on some of that yourself, but some small presses can be very nice. And you can often bypass an agent and go directly to the acquisitions editors. What you probably won't get is an advance. So when you're getting paid, we talked about money's coming towards you. Hopefully with a big traditional deal or a big five traditional deal or with one of their imprints, they're going to give you an advance, which is some cash up front when you sign the contract. And then you're going to get royalties after that, which you will share some of those royalties with your agent. And of course, the publishing house is making money. So they're taking most of that sales money, but you do get royalties. So after you earn out of your advance, meaning they've gotten that paid back in their mind, you'll start getting royalty checks potentially. So that's just, that's kind of how the money works. With a small press, you won't likely get an advance. You'll most likely get a little bit of a higher percentage of royalties, but you won't get an advance. But again, nothing costs you anything to produce either. So that's a good thing. And some of those small presses, like I said, are very reputable. Do your homework though, if you're going to do that, and look up, remember the first time around when I was putting out my science fiction series, I got contract offers from a couple of small presses. And one of them I was very interested in. I actually ordered a couple of books. I ordered some ebooks. I looked at their cover art. I read, I researched them. How long had they been in business? What kind of things were they putting out? And I was pretty comfortable and excited about it. But at the end of the day, I wanted my own timeline. Essentially, I needed to do things at a certain rate, and I just wanted more control over that particular project. But it would have been probably a very nice, it would have been probably a very positive experience. I could feel that. One of the other ones, I was like, I no, these people seem like they're not even going to be in business in 5 years. So never mind, so do your homework, talk to other people.
I would say looking at other things that they've published is
Yes,
huge.
yes. How well edited is it? How is the cover art? Do they translate nicely? Do they even offer audio market? All that kind of stuff, things you want to think about before picking before accepting a contract deal. And then do your homework on contracts, because now you don't have an agent to negotiate on your behalf. So you want to make sure what they're offering you is sort of standard industry, in terms of a contract. And most of this information you can find out yourself. It's not like it's a hidden secret. So you can learn, just be educated about it. So yeah.
Do you think there are particular genres or cases where you would urge somebody to not look at traditional publishing?
I think as a romance writer, you don't need to go traditional. I think romance readers are voracious readers. They're savvy readers. They know exactly how to, get on and download all of their things. They're on Kindle Unlimited. They're on all of these, innovative presses or innovative publishers. I think if you can figure out your audience and you're willing to put some time and energy into marketing yourself and building your brand, that is one area where you can really make a living. For sure. I think you can do it in other places too now. I mean, everybody is digital, everybody is online, social media. You don't actually, who is stepping foot into a bookstore anymore? I don't know. So, that comes to mind me personally. I don't think you need to,
I
I don't think
believe
you need an
that
agent.
I believe that the royalties for romance are less than traditional as well.
Yeah, probably because the market is so huge and there's so much material out there that they just don't need to. And they know they're competing now with a ton of indies who are actually making a really good living. One area where you do need, I think you can't access directly is like middle grade, because middle grade, it's really still the parents that are the gatekeepers. And where they buy in the books, like you can't really market directly. There's not a mechanism to market directly to that age group, ethically, I think, so that is one place where it's a hard nut. I don't think that it's been super well cracked getting in as an indie, for like the middle
And
grade.
I think, and we'll go into indie publishing, but the elephant in the room is when you publish it yourself, you do have to outlay the money, and we'll talk about what things you have to outlay it for,
Yeah,
but you also get all the profits.
you get, yes. Hmm.
So
No,
that is, yeah.
yeah, there's good reasons, and when we get to that module about why indie is a good choice, we can talk about that. And yeah, but you do have to have sort of like the entrepreneurial impulse. Although I will say, even today with traditional deals, there's still a lot on the author to be maintaining a platform, to be talking themselves up. It's first time authors, especially debut novels. You're not Stephen King. I'm sorry, you can't sit in your cottage in Maine, or now where he lives in Sarasota, and just turn out books. You just don't have that kind of platform yet. So there is an expectation, even if you're traditionally published, that you'll partner with them and to do the
Yes.
things they suggest to get
And
yourself out there.
yes, and when you get that list of edits, that probably will make your book better. And guess who has to do them?
Yes. Yes, you do.
Yes,
So
for sure, for sure. I would say, like, either way, there's still a lot of work for you to do, and we just have to be honest about that. But but you're not. If you've written a book, you already know you're doing it because you love it. You're not
yes,
doing it because it's easy.
no.
Um, and so,
And you're in
and
it for the long haul. That's
yeah,
the
you gotta
thing.
be.
It's just, you got to be in it for the long haul. And if you decided to go this path, and when we talk about querying next time, while you're querying, you should be writing the next thing, so that your mind is not obsessing over every minute, because rejection is going to be part of the game. You just have to keep powering on, and you get better every time you write something. So, it's,
Sure.
and
So
probably
I
have
think
more than one story. So
And I think that's next week's topic is we're going to talk all about querying.
yeah.
And let's go into elements of query letter as well, and what's typically expected when you're sending a query, and different, and because I'm in the middle of it right now, different places that you can look to find the people to query.
Yep, we'll talk all about that next time. But I think that, traditional, you just be honest about this is like Amy said, it's there's work and and don't give up, right? It's not going to be an easy path no matter how you do it. So just be
I mean, I
honest.
think that's the misconception. I think that's the misconception most people have. It's like, oh, I wrote this thing. Now I just need to find an agent. And that's on a base level, that's true. But at the same time, you have to go into it with the idea of having a long-term tenacious
Yes.
attitude about it. And also, the rejections are worded like so prettily. This isn't a right fit for my list or whatever. Like, just believe that.
Mhm.
I mean, unless you get something that tells you, look, I loved it, which I got something like that, is basically I loved it at the beginning and it didn't grab me. And I had been wondering about the beginning. So guess what I did? I added in a new beginning, and
Yeah.
I'm much happier with it. But you're not usually going to get something like that. So you just kind of
Yeah, you
you
do
just
your
have to.
work on your side and you keep moving forward and don't get discouraged. And if this is truly the traditional path is the way you want to go, it might not happen on the first book. You might be, and that's why it's like if you're querying, be writing the next thing and, and keep on, or just be honest about what you think is real for this project. You can make a different decision project by project for sure. So,
For sure, true.
yeah.
All right, I think that's a wrap for today,
Okay.
until we talk about querying next week.
All right. Sounds good.